It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's right, it's time for playoffs, best time of the year. And we've got some playoffs coming up this weekend with Wild Card Weekend. And so I'm going to be doing my annual playoff predictions. I did this a season ago. I predicted the Saints to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I was close on the Chiefs side of things, but Saints didn't even win a playoff game last year. And I'm going to be doing the same thing again this year. Not picking the same teams to go to the Super Bowl, although both those teams are in the playoffs this year. But just pick playoff winners for fun and whatnot. I like doing this. That's why I did it last year. I kind of do this more so for myself, so I can look back and be like, wow, I was an idiot, or wow, I was a genius. If I get something right or wrong, I'm probably going to pick some things that might be outlandish maybe or something, but you've kind of got to pick stuff like that in these kinds of videos. You know, when it comes to the NFL, no one knows what's going to happen really. Crazy stuff happens all the time. Very tough to predict, so I'm going to probably say some things that aren't going to age very well in the next month. Also, if I pick your team to lose a game or something, you know, I picked some team to beat your team in the playoffs, you don't need to get all defensive or whatnot. You know, this is mostly just based off gut feeling for me. Like I said, I just do this for fun. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. First off, in the wild card round, we have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to take on the Buffalo Bills. The Colts are good this season. I think they're a little bit underrated. Their defense is pretty good. Their offense is decent but inconsistent with Phillip Rivers there at quarterback. I believe Jonathan Taylor, that's the running back, he's looking like freaking Derrick Henry in the backfield there, especially in his last game there, just running people over. But I think the Colts are going to get run over in this game by the Buffalo Bills. I actually picked in my pick'ems last week Miami to beat the Bills because I knew they were desperate for a playoff spot. And, you know, the Bills, they benched their players at halftime and still dominated Miami. I think something similar to that is going to happen in this game. It's going to be a little bit closer, but I have the Bills winning 35-21 and moving on to the divisional round, winning their first playoff game in who knows how long. I don't know, sometime in the 90s. Next up, you have the Rams at the Seahawks, Part 3. The first time these two teams met up this season, the Rams were victorious. Then 2 weeks ago, Seattle held the Rams to just 3 field goals, and that was it. This game, who knows if Jared Goff is even going to be playing in this game, and even if he is, what version of Jared Goff are we getting? He's been so inconsistent, especially in his last game, which was against Seattle. He hurt his hand. Is he going to be back? Is he going to be at 100%? Is he going to be the good version of Jared Goff? I don't know. Are they going to start the guy they started last week? I don't even remember his name. John Wolford, I want to say. One of those two guys is going to be playing quarterback for the Rams this week. Either way, I don't think it's going to matter. I have the Seahawks winning, but in a close game, my score prediction, Seahawks 21, Rams 20. Seattle always seems to play down or play up to their opponents no matter who it is. It always seems to be a one-score game, and I think that's going to continue today. Russell Wilson in the fourth quarter, though, he's basically unstoppable, and I think that's what's going to happen in this game. The Seahawks moving on. Next, you have the Buccaneers at the Redskins, now known as the Washington Football Team. Are they going to get a name? Please don't stick with Washington Football Team as your full-time name. Okay, Red Wolves is dope. Just go with that or something. For now, I'm just going to call them the Redskins till they get themselves a real name. I have the Buccaneers winning this one, 26-16, just jumping right into the score prediction. I think a lot of people are probably predicting a blowout, and rightly so. You have a high-powered 11-5 offensive team facing a 7-9 defensive team. One thing that I've noted or thought, I guess that is interesting, is in the past decade, you have the Seahawks and Panthers, both with losing records that made the playoffs in 2010 and 2014. Both those teams won their playoff games. Now, I don't think that Washington is going to continue this trend, but I think their defense is good enough to keep this close. But to me, Tampa Bay is just too well-rounded of a team. They're really good on offense and on defense. They're just inconsistent. But I think they're going to win this game with a score, like I said, 26-16. And next up, starting with the Sunday games now, you have the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans defeated the Ravens twice last year. Once in the playoffs, of course. They went into Baltimore. They were the 1 seed and then just annihilated them. And then in this past season, they beat them 30-24 in overtime. So the Titans seem to have the Ravens number. I think it's going to flip-flop this time around. I have the Ravens winning by a score of 30-28. I think it's going to be a close one, but Tennessee's defense is pretty bad, and I think, Lamar Jackson can finally get a playoff win under his belt in this game. The question is, can their defense stop Derrick Henry? Because that man is a beast. Moving on to the late afternoon game. I believe it's the late afternoon game. It doesn't really matter. But I have the Bears at the Saints here. And I think we all know the Saints are probably going to dominate. Of course, Saints in the playoffs always seem to get screwed over one way or another. I don't think that's going to happen, at least not in this game here. I have them winning 38-20. The Bears snuck into the playoffs. I mean, do you really think Mitchell Trubisky is going to lead the Bears to a win over one of the best teams in the conference, even with Drew Brees' weak arm? I don't think so, even with that Bears defense. No, I have the Saints winning this game. The Bears have only beat one team with like a winning record, I think, or with a playoff berth or something. I don't know. The Bears are trash. Shouldn't be in the playoffs, but because of the 7 seed, they are. But they're going to be one and done. And then finally, I have the Browns versus the Steelers. So, and what I've heard today, though, is that some of the Browns coaching staff could be out for this game because of COVID and whatnot. Hopefully that's not the case for Cleveland. I really want them to win. I really like that they're in the playoffs now. And I'm really pulling for them to get the victory. Plus, who likes the Steelers anyway? After this season and whatnot. The last week the Browns were barely able to beat the Steelers backups. But I'm actually going to be picking the Browns in this game with a score of 28-24. This is where I'm kind of going against my gut, I guess. My gut is kind of saying Pittsburgh. I'm going with what I want to happen, giving the Browns a victory and moving them to the divisional round. Speaking of the divisional round, here are those matchups that I've got going. Ravens versus the Bills. Lamar Jackson finally got himself a playoff win against Tennessee, but it's not going to continue as the Bills dominate with a score of 42-25. Josh Allen, this is actually going to be his first playoff win. Well, not first playoff win, second playoff win. In my mind, the second seed at a bye. I'm still not used to the new playoff formats. Josh Allen gets his second playoff win here in this game. The Bills are just too darn good this season. Josh Allen has looked amazing. If Aaron Rodgers didn't exist, then, Allen probably wins the MVP, either him or Mahomes. Brady has played really good. He's got 40 touchdowns. Even Wilson's got 40 touchdowns. There's just a lot of great quarterback play this year. Josh Allen has played spectacular football. That's going to continue in that game. Next, I've got the Seattle Seahawks at the Saints, and I have the Saints winning 24-22. I think the Saints' defense is going to give Russell Wilson some nightmares, especially that front four versus that Seattle offensive line. Russ is great and all, but we've seen, when teams can get to him, he can't always escape and make plays. Breeze, of course, I've already talked about his arm, not the best in the world nowadays, but I think the Saints are going to be moving to the conference championship now. But who will they be taking on? We'll have to see in a moment. Back to the AFC side of things, the Cleveland Browns at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have not looked so hot the past few weeks, but I think, they're in the playoffs now. They're actually trying to win games and whatnot instead of just wait until the third quarter to start trying to win games. But I have the Chiefs over the Browns 32-17. Congratulations, Cleveland. You got a win. Now you're playing a really good team. And they've beat good teams this season. They beat the Colts and the Titans, but they're going to fall here. But you know what? That's a big step for the Browns. A couple years ago, 0-16. Divisional round of the playoffs now. You can't really complain that much if you're a Browns fan. I really do like the Browns, and I think they're just going to get better next year. And finally, in the divisional round, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady, part 2 this season. We all know what happened back in week 6. Packers go up 10-0 early on. Don't score again after that. Rodgers plays easily his worst game of the season. He threw just his 3rd career pick 6. He followed that up by throwing another interception. But this time, I think the Packers are going to get some revenge. This game is in Lambeau Field, of course. Tom Brady, he's used to playing with the cold in the cold all those years in New England, but I still think the Packers are going to win 31-20. Now for the conference championships, you have the Saints at the Packers. And do you really think Drew Brees' arm is going to do well, especially in that Lambeau cold, which I saw averages about 9 degrees in January? I don't think so. Yeah, the Saints can run the football with Kamara. We did a decent job shutting them down back in week 3. The Packers did, I should say. But I think the Packers are going to be victorious in this game. Maybe a little bit of Packers bias, as I am a Packers fan after all. But, you know, I'm picking them to win this game with the score of 36-28. And then the AFC Conference Championship, the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Bills are going to travel to Arrowhead, and they're going to give the Chiefs all they can handle. And I actually have the Bills winning this game 41-38 in an overtime thriller. Josh Allen getting the best of Patrick Mahomes here and moving the Bills to the Super Bowl for the 5th time in franchise history. You know, obviously the Chiefs are stacked, and I feel like the Bills are one of the only teams that can really compete with them. And like I said, I have them winning this game. So now Super Bowl 55 between the Green Bay Packers and the Buffalo Bills. Once again, my Packers bias is going to show. I picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl back in my 2020 season predictions, and I have them winning it here over the Buffalo Bills with a score of 37-35. Hopefully giving the Bills their 5th Super Bowl loss in franchise history. I mean, maybe I'd pick the Bills if it was against another team. But let's get Rodgers his 2nd ring. Rodgers, he's probably going to win the MVP, so hopefully he can break the MVP curse, because an MVP hasn't won the Super Bowl since, I think, 99 with Kurt Warner. And every year after that, either the MVP hasn't gone to the Super Bowl or they have lost the Super Bowl. Let's hope Aaron Rodgers can get both the regular season MVP and the Super Bowl MVP. Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you're new, you know, seeing my channel, my videos for the first time, that would be awesome if you subscribed and if you left a like on the video as well. Let me know your Super Bowl predictions down in the comments below. You know, let's hear what you guys have to say. But until next time now, this has been Jeffrey, reminding you to stay moist.